In today's episode, we're switching things up a little bit and we are doing an Ask Me Anything episode. You sent in your questions on Instagram and we are answering them all today. So listen in. Hi, I'm Raya.
And I'm Duane.
And we are your hosts of the Travel Party of Five podcast, where we share how we travel as a family of five around the world.
We will also share how we use points and miles to travel as affordably as possible and sometimes even completely free.
So if you're wanting to travel more with your family, but you're not sure how, we'd love for you to listen in.
So welcome to our podcast where we hope you learn a thing or two to get you closer to your next trip. Hey, welcome back.
Hello, friends. Thank you for tuning in today.
That was my line.
Oh, sorry. We are doing something a little different. We've done this maybe once before, but we're doing an Ask Me Anything episode. And so I asked on Instagram a few days ago if anyone had any questions. Literally nothing was off limits, did not have to be points and miles related. And we are just going to go through them one by one. I think there's maybe 9 or 10 questions total. And so, yeah, should be fun.
All right. First question. How did you prepare your kids for their first flight and how old were they?
So our oldest was about 8 months. I think both of our older two boys' first flights was just with me. It was just like a solo flight with me and them. So our oldest was 8 months old, and he and I flew from Phoenix to New York State, like Rochester area. That's where I grew up. And we spent a week there, like at family's, like friend's lake house, basically. And that was kind of our, like his first flight, my first flight with a kid, and he was a lap baby, obviously. We were very broke back then, so maybe my parents even paid for my ticket. I don't remember, but so there really was no preparing him, right? It's just preparing me as the parent, and I think snacks and like all that fun stuff. I think our middle, do you remember when he went to Florida with me? Was that his first flight to visit my sister?
Maybe. How old was he?
I think he was like a year and a half.
Yeah, I would assume so.
So our second one was a year and a half-ish. I remember that trip because it was also just me and him. And we flew from Phoenix to Orlando. I went to see my sister and one of her friends. And we had, I think it was a red-eye flight. And then we had a literal 7-hour layover in the Dallas airport. And I was there with like a 15-month-old, maybe 16 months old. And again, he was a lap infant or a lap baby, so he did not have his own seat. And I just remember being so tired and trying to hold him and sleep in the airport. And it was not fun, like at all. But we flew a red-eye flight because we didn't have any points, didn't even know points were a thing at that point, so.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
And then our daughter was born in February 2020, so
right before the world shut down.
Her first flight wasn't until we went to Disney World, I think, and that was November 2021.
Yep. So she was almost 2.
Yeah.
That was a great trip, though. I mean,
it was a stressful trip.
It was a stressful trip, but it was fun.
It was fun. It was like
but that's also when we decided we wouldn't go back to Disney World until they were older.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was it was so expensive. Again, this was before points and miles. It was so like literally $10,000, and our two boys fought the whole time. I was so stressed out. I was like, this is not magical at all. I think the part of the question also said, did it say how did we prepare? Is that?
Yes.
It's down there.
How do we prepare?
Just literal snacks and any kind of age appropriate like toys for them. So if they're super little, like stickers or like the window Klingon things, those are really good.
Anything to keep them busy.
Yes, but what you want to avoid is anything that has a lot of little pieces because they will fall on the ground and it is very hard to get them. And you don't want to be doing that over and over again because that's annoying. So anything you can like attach to them that they can play with, I feel like is good. And snacks. And if they're babies, then bottles because that helps the ears pop. Yeah. And like way more snacks than you think they'll eat and way more toys than you think they'll need and toys that they have not seen before, like that are new. And if they're a little older and they can wear headphones, screens.
Yes, screens for sure. We're going to Japan tomorrow.
Yep.
And I've loaded the iPads up with movies and shows and
Duane's in charge of technology.
So yeah, they have a lot to watch to keep them busy.
Yep.
Typically we don't allow them to use the screens, but
yeah, they don't get to watch them at home.
Trips like this, it's a must.
When I did the episode on like ADHD and like traveling with like gifted kids and stuff, that was one of the things I talked about is that we do allow screens on travel days, but we try to limit it everywhere else because they get addicted and then they like don't want to see the place you're traveling to and they just want to live in this video game land. And it's like, no, like, please let me bring you into reality. Okay. What's the next one?
Next question. Which one you want me to?
Oh, there's like a first part to that, which is a screenshot. So do this one first.
Have you ever considered staying at the Grand Rotan? Is that how you say that?
Roatan, yeah.
Roatan, since canceling Belize.
Yes, that's Honduras. And yes, I have.
We have considered that.
Yeah. So that's an IHG property. And yes, it is on my radar, but we currently have 0 IHG points, or maybe have like 10,000, so like really nothing. And I don't know, just not high on my list at this point. It was for a bit, and then it kind of fell off.
It definitely was for a bit.
Yeah, because we've talked about this property. So anyways, yeah, we did cancel Belize. We have Thailand booked instead. I don't think I haven't done an episode on how I booked that yet, but I can. Yeah, I don't know. I think Honduras would be cool. I
think when the kids are older.
And we could do more of like the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Because in Costa Rica, we were kind of limited based on the ages of our kids. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And Costa Rica was beautiful. And I'm sure it's the same in Honduras, but.
Yeah, Central America, I think, is really kind of underrated.
You got any more to add to that?
No, I thought you were going to say something. That's all.
No.
Here, we could do this one.
Next question. How did you and Duane meet? What do you do for work?
Okay, how did we meet and what do I do for work? So Duane and I met at work, actually. I was serving and bartending at the place where he worked, and that is how we met. And currently for work, do you have anything to add about how we met?
I mean, no, that is how we met.
I know you were just looking at me weird, so I thought you might have something else to say. At the time, so I was a server, and the bartender that I worked with, and I eventually also became a bartender, but the bartender that I worked with was one of Duane's good buddies at the time. And like that's kind of how the whole thing came about, basically.
Yes.
And I just remember him telling me that you were from Guam. And I was like, where is Guam?
That's what everyone says.
What do I do for work? I work in software sales. So I work for a supply chain planning software company. It's a SaaS company, so software as a service. And I primarily work with our existing customers, and I do business development, which essentially means I am helping to unearth like a need for new functionalities within these customer accounts. So basically, it's a sales role, but it's super relationship based because these are already our customers, and so I really enjoy that part of it. I work remotely. I work from home, which I also really enjoy that part of it. And yeah, I've been in sales for over 10 years, various types of sales, but software for the last like maybe 5 years. And that's probably where I will continue. So,
Yeah. So I'm at a conference center, which I've been there for 22 years now.
yeah, Dwayne still works at the place where we met. I should add that. He still works there.
Yeah.
Dwayne is very loyal.
Very loyal.
Yeah. I've had like probably, I don't know, a lot of jobs since we've been together.
At least 6, 5.
Yeah, a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. This Hyatt one.
Yeah.
So it says, I know Hyatt is a great redemption, but I hate squeezing 5 in a room. Too cheap to pay for 2 rooms.
Yeah, so I messaged this person because I was like, I wanted to make sure I understood their question. And their question was basically just like, what are the other options? Like,
Instead of paying for 2 rooms?
yes,
Yeah.
or squeezing 5 people into one room. And they were like, I know Airbnb is an option, but that's just as expensive, basically. And I'm like, well, yes, it is. So I think there's a couple of options, and also maybe we just need to like level set that like when you are traveling with 5 people, it's expensive, especially outside of the US. But so there's a few like trusted house sitter or home exchange, or a couple of websites where people like, so you can either like list your house, right, for people to stay in, and like you can do literally an exchange, just like that movie The Holiday. Or I do think there is an option for you to not list your own house but stay in someone else's home. I want to be super honest that I don't know all the details of this because I've never looked into it. I would probably never let someone stay in our home that was a stranger. And I'm not opposed to doing it, like to staying in someone else's home and like caring for their cat or whatever. Well, dog, I'm allergic to cats, but I've never done it. So I do think that could be an option that could be affordable.
I mean, let me just add, we're too cheap to pay for 2 rooms too if we don't need to, you know what I mean?
That's why, we are. We cram into one room.
Yeah.
That was a big reason why we prioritized getting globalist status with Hyatt, is for the possibility of an upgrade so we could get more space. For us, that has 1,000% been worth it. It is not worth it for everyone though, and I get that. But I mean, the space was like the biggest driver for us, I think. Don't you?
I mean, oh, for sure. I mean, the last 3 or 4 suite upgrades we've gotten have been
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, if that's like anywhere on the radar for you, then I would recommend that. If not, then yeah, I think you can do one room, and you can, ask if they have like the family plan rate for the second room, which theoretically should be 50% ish off of the regular cash rate. You could do like a trusted home sitter. I forget exactly what it's called, but if you Google something like that, the right thing will come up. Or a home exchange. I mean, beyond that, with a family, like, I don't know. I feel like those are probably your best options. I do know some people that like book in the portal, and they'll look for a room that like will sleep 5. And you can use your points that way, and or you can pay cash if it's a good rate. So maybe that's another option. But I mean, I also just think, unfortunately, when you're traveling with a family of 5 or even more, like, there is just a cost that goes with it, and it stinks.
Yeah, that's when you bring grandma and grandpa also in the picture and have them pay for the second room.
Yeah, if that's an option, I highly recommend that one. The other thing I was going to say is, shoot, I forgot.
Well, let me stop you. You kind of mentioned something from another question.
Oh, okay.
It says, what things do you do that go against travel hacking common knowledge because you're traveling with kids? For example, I often use travel portals to find properties that will hold everyone in one space instead of 2 rooms.
Oh, okay. Yeah. 100%. So that's not something that we have done, but the only reason we haven't done that is because of the status that we have with Hyatt. And here's the thing. Once you have the status, this is how they get you, because once you're in there, you don't want to leave it, you know? Like, I don't want to give up the possibility of a suite, and I don't want to give up the free breakfast by staying somewhere else. So,
No, and like you said, the suites have been worth it, you know.
I mean, we have stayed in some really phenomenal rooms in the last year.
The last 4 suite upgrades we've gotten have been
Great.
so great.
Yeah. So let me think about that for a second. So other things we do that go against travel hacking common knowledge because you're traveling with kids. I think the other thing is I don't super pay attention to cents per point. Do you even know what cents per point is?
Of course I don't.
Essentially, cents per point is just like what value are you getting for your points? And it matters because you could cash out these points for actual cash, right? You could cash them out for 1 cent per point at a minimum for the most part, and get, like, instead of 100,000 points, you could get instead of 100,000 points, you could get $1,000. So the whole, like, fun of points and miles is getting a better value than that, right, for your points. And every point currency has, like, its own kind of suggested value that you should not accept less than, right? And, like, Marriott is like 0.8 cents per point. So it's not even a full cent per point, but Hyatt is like closer to 2 cents per point, if not more. And so I think I want to acknowledge that it is important to pay attention to cents per point, because you don't want to lose money, right? If you could cash out your points for $1,000 and you're spending it on something that costs $500, like, that's a terrible redemption value. But at the same time, traveling with a family of 5 is very expensive. There is food costs, there is transportation, there are a lot of other costs that go into it that are not included in, that are a lot more than if it's just like 1 or 2 people traveling. And so I don't always look at cents per point, because getting it free is more important, because we are already going to spend so much money on the food and whatever else, you know what I mean? The activities. So I do think that's something that I don't put a ton of, like, thought into, although there's always a caveat. There's always a nuance. For our Thailand trip, we did end up paying cash for our flights both ways, because the cents per point was terrible. And even I have hotels booked on points, but the cents per point value is not great, and I'm not feeling good about it. So I have to decide how I want to go about that. So anyways, those are my things.
Okay, next question. Have you opened checking accounts with banks to increase personal/business approval?
Yes, it didn't work. Spoiler alert. So I opened up a Bank of America checking account literally just a few weeks ago to try to increase my chances of getting approved for the new Atmos card, whatever. The new Alaska Airlines card, the business card specifically, and it did not work. And let me share. So if you have the card is issued by Bank of America. And Bank of America, similar to Chase having a 524 rule, has a 3/12 rule. So they are really looking at inquiries, I think, not even cards opened, but they're looking at, do you have 3 or less in the last 12 months? I have opened 10 credit cards this year. So, and I've also been denied. So I have an incredible amount of cards and even more inquiries into my credit. So I knew I wasn't getting approved for that. But if you have a bank account with them or like a banking relationship of some sort, then it increases to 7 in 12 months. And I was like, oh, I'm still probably over that. But I tried anyways and I was denied. You might get approved, but I don't know if I have the mental capacity to open up a bank account for you right now. And then I have a Capital One checking account. And our regular bank is Chase. So I didn't open those to get approved for more cards, but I mean, it maybe has helped, you know?
I do know.
Do you though?
No, I don't. What's funny is it brings me to the next question, which I have no idea how to answer this, but that's why you're here.
Yeah.
It says, do you worry Chase Inks will adapt lifetime language in the future? Like, what the fuck does that mean?
You can't curse. This is a clean podcast. Okay, we're going to get like some kind of a flag. Okay, the lifetime language is an American Express term actually, and it basically says like you can only have this card once per lifetime. But for Amex, per lifetime generally means around 7 years, right? And okay, so to answer the question, I don't worry so much that Chase will adapt that language in the future because even the Capital One lifetime language, like Capital One has no lifetime language offers that come out. And I'm sorry, not Capital One, American Express. Okay, so American Express like has this rule, right? You can only get one of these cards every 7 years. Well, I've had 2 Amex Biz Platinums in the last year alone because I opened one and then they sent me a mailer with no lifetime language in it. And essentially that just means in the offer, it doesn't say anything about you not being able to get that card if you've had one. That's all it's saying. So I don't really worry about that because even if they do, I feel like they're taking like a play right out of the Amex playbook. And so even if they do that, I feel like there's going to be some kind of a workaround. I mean, Chase has cracked down on all the inks recently, but then they just rolled out 2 elevated offers on their ink cards. Okay. If you want people to stop applying for them, you don't give elevated offers. You know what I mean? So I just think, I do think there are changes happening at Chase. And again, I don't have any behind the scenes information. So take all this with a grain of salt, but there have been a lot of changes happening with Chase and a lot of like speculation around how to get approved and what they're looking for. And I think it's all still very much in flux, but I'm not super worried about the lifetime language on the inks.
Thank you for that. So, next question. Do you only put business expenses on your business card?
No. No, not at all.
I don't think we put any business expenses.
No, that's not true. I do. I like the podcast hosting and all that. Yes, there are expenses. But no, most of it is like regular organic spend. And I will say, like, if you have an LLC or an S Corp, I do think there is, like, if you use your business card for, sorry, excuse me, it is 10:30 p.m. at the time of recording. If you put your personal expenses on a business card, I do think there is like some kind of theory that like blurs the line between business and personal expenses, and then that therefore like removes your protections that you have with that LLC or S Corp. But I am not a tax lawyer, so take all that with a grain of salt. We use our business cards for personal things. Period. The end.
The end.
Not the end, though, because there's more questions.
Oh, there's one more question, but it's a 2-parter, and I can only see the second part.
Oh, is that the only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know the first part.
Yeah, the first part is right here. This one.
Okay, it says, how many points do you have on average at any given time? And how many of those are transferable?
Okay, and then the part 2 to that is...
At what number do you start to panic that you need more?
Okay, well, let me answer part 2 first. All the time. I'm always panicked that we need more points, okay? But to answer the first question, or the first part of the question, so how many points do you have on average? Okay, I have a rough idea of this in my brain, and I wrote it down on this Post-it to make sure I don't forget. So we have right now around 200,000 Chase points, which I feel like is solid. Like I can book a vacation with that for sure. We have a lot of American Airlines miles. We have 290,000 AA miles. And I had a very specific redemption in mind for those that has disappeared off the face of the earth. So I don't know what we're going to do with those, but I will find a use. Don't you worry. We have close to 600,000 Amex points. And we're working on a sign-up bonus for Duane's first Amex business card, the ABG, the Amex Business Gold. And that will add another 200,000 to that, plus whatever I can scrape up through Rakuten this quarter. So I feel like we are doing really good on Amex points. Like I find that they have been the easiest to earn this year for sure. And then we have 200,000 United miles that between the two of us. I think I have 90 and you have 110 or something like that. And maybe 5,000 Capital One. We have pretty much no Hilton points because I had just booked right before the Hilton devaluation, literally days before. I had booked a couple of nights at the Grand Hotel Victoria in Lake Como. And I booked 2 nights under each of our names so that all 5 of us can go. And literally a few days later, they did their 3rd devaluation of the year. And now those rooms are going for, I think, 190,000 points a night or something like that. So we also have a bunch of free night certificates. Hilton, IHG, Hyatt. Oh, and as for Hyatt points, we have not a lot, maybe 8,000 points. All my Chase points pretty much go to Hyatt, so that's kind of how I view it, but yeah. Oh, and Duane was recently approved. By recently, I just mean a few days ago for a Chase Ink Unlimited card with the elevated offer, which, I'm sorry, not Duane, me. It was me. That makes my 6th business card, I think. That's my 6th business card with Chase. I have a World of Hyatt business, a United business, and 3 other inks. So this is my 6th one. Duane has 1 ink and that is it, and he cannot get approved. It is really annoying, actually. I do not understand the logic, but somehow Chase has put a higher value on me as a customer than Duane. I really don't know why. Sorry.
My card is your card. Your card is my card. Yeah.
I think that's roughly all the points we have. We have no city thank you points at all. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I have 45,000 Alaska points and another 100,000 coming from Hawaiian because we have met the minimum spend on one Hawaiian card and we will soon meet the minimum spend on the other one, which will give us a total of 100,000 Hawaiian miles, which will become Alaska miles. Plus, I transferred in 45,000 before the Amex window transfer closed because 45,000 is enough for 2 positioning flights for all 5 of us, and that's what I like to use Alaska miles for. So, hope that's helpful. As far as when do we feel like we panic, the 200,000 Chase points is I don't really like to see it lower than that. It will go lower because I need to book our fall break trip, but whatever. Is there ever a moment where I have been satisfied with the number of points that we have had?
No.
Never. Like, maybe if we were at, like, over $1 million, I might, like, for Amex and Chase, like, I might feel okay about it. But no, I don't. I never feel like we have enough. But we also really go through them pretty quickly because we travel a good amount. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think the points and miles can be like an addiction of sorts, you know?
It already is an addiction.
I know, that's what I'm saying to you. Like, it's like, I need more. I need my fix, you know? I mean, when I got approved for that Chase Inc. Unlimited card, I mean, that made my whole day. That's made my whole week, honestly. Like, I was shocked that they approved me. If anyone wants to know the process for that, I'll just briefly tell you. So I applied, it went into review, and I assumed, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get a denial letter like every other time. They called me in the morning. I saw that it said JP Morgan Chase was calling. So I answered, and the girl was like, hey, I got your application, like just had a few questions. And I was like, okay. And basically she just wanted to know why I needed this business card when I already have 5. And I said they're for more than one business was my answer. And she asked if I was open to moving credit. And that was the point where I was like, oh my gosh, they are going to approve me for this card. Like, I was floored. And I said, yes, I am open to moving credit. That's fine. She asked me which card I wanted to move it from. And I thought, I don't really care. But I chose a card. I chose a different ink card that had a high limit. And she moved it over and said, congratulations. And
I didn't even know they can do that.
You can do that. You actually can do it yourself for some cards if you sign into your Chase account. I did it the other day, actually, for
That's crazy.
my
I had
Chase
no idea.
Cash. Yeah. So basically, you're just taking credit from one card.
I mean, no, I get it. But
Yeah. So that was a fun surprise. But in general, I never feel like we have enough points, and I am always thinking about the next card that we are going to open, and or thinking, okay, if I'm not going to open a card right now, like, how can I maximize our daily spend? And whether that's like, you know, a 4X on groceries card and dining or whatever, Rakuten, you know. So yeah, those are all the questions, and I hope that was helpful. And if you have any other questions, find us on Instagram at TravelParty5, and that's where I will be.
Yes. Sorry if we seem out of it, but it is now what?
It's almost 11 p.m.
Yeah, almost 11.
And I still have to pack for myself, so.
I might not even edit this one, so you might just get a raw podcast this time.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, thank you, as always, for listening. We appreciate you so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
And we will catch you on the next one, which will it be a Japan episode?
I mean, it probably will be.
That's very exciting. I hope you guys are ready for all the Japan content, because it will be at least 3 podcast episodes, maybe 4, because I think we might need to do the Disney ones separately. And it's just going to be a whole month of Japan. It's going to be great. Okay, we will see you on the next one.
Have a good one.
Bye.